Hello, doesn't look like anyone's here. I'll go ahead and start recording and talk about this week's assignments. We're catching up a little bit on grading, but not quite there, but almost. So this week, let's start with your videos and reading. So you're supposed to read Chapter 8 of TWIS, which is about budgeting. You're going to do, then there's some examples, some videos to go with it, and some budget workouts. I actually have not posted, but I will post the campus budget form that you're also going to go ahead and get started on. But you're not going to finish that this week. But a couple things about the way the teaming stuff is going to have to work. For those that are working on duality and one world, right? Your budget may or may not go through the university. That's why I didn't post the university one. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for your own budget forms. We'll have to do some budget stuff, which is part of your work for this week. But let's jump to the other things, and I'll come back to budget. So, your first thing last week, each of you did, some idea of what RACI is. So, and then you went through the proposal template. Many of you got lots of the core elements of this. So now that you have the proposal template, you should be able to come up with a good RACI where you can come up with, here are all of the tasks we have to have. Here are the various people on the teams. Notice the tasks are not all just the sections in the document. So you have to come up with a list of tasks, a schedule, and a role of identification for the actual project based on your brainstorming, based on where you're going with the team. This is all due on Friday, so you have some time to work through this week. And I want to see RACI. You are not bound by this RACI in that the team can go back and forth. This is actually a group team assignment. Not positive I actually made it a team assignment, but it will be in a second. So your whole group is turning this in as a group. And so you're going to have things, and you're going to be graded on a bunch of pieces. I want to see that you have a schedule, you have a bunch of tasks, and you have people assigned to each of those tasks as you're working through what are you working on as teams. So if you're going to have a charter, fine. If not, that's okay. But I want to see the schedules in the RACI. The schedule, in my view, should actually be in the same spreadsheet as the RACI, and we'll put this all together. I'm going to base your grades on this. So even though it's a team thing, this is there'll be one for the team. But I want to see discussions in either a video you record on Microsoft Teams or the Teams chat or some combination, and you're going to have a journal where you're going to talk about your contributions. So the grades will not necessarily have to be uniform, but it's important that you get moving on this. For those working on either the violence proposal or the poly substance proposals, we're going to have the budget in less than 2 weeks, and the full proposal has got to be in like 5 days before the actual deadline of December 1st or 2nd. So we have to be moving pretty quickly. We've got to get moving in these things. So the second thing, so we did some things. I was a little bit surprised. No one actually had gone back and looked at even SMART objectives from their brainstorming. It's not surprising in one sense because I've done this, but I was really hoping people would go back and look at, okay, what are our objectives? What are we trying to achieve? When you did your brainstorming, I was hoping to see some of that. I didn't see all the brainstorming, but there's a lot of this. So in this week, you're going to do some SMART objectives for your proposal effort, right? You're going to work towards a basic project budget. And if you go through Chapter 8, I'm not going to give you everything, but in Chapter 8, understanding your project budget is critical before you get too deep into the proposal effort and the story and the task. So this will be going on in parallel. Not that you have the details of everything in the budget. There's a lot of details that go into a budget, but you have to have a rough. You have to know how much money you have, how many people that allows you to have, because that allows you to work towards what the story is going to be. And I want to be clear that everyone's contributing to the team. I've been on multiple calls. I've talked to some of the people involved. So I want to see what's going on. So your last assignment for this week is a personal journal. And again, this is also due, it's not published, but it'll be due on Friday. And basically, you're going to say, what did you contribute to the 2 assignments of your team this week? And I will use that looking back at the meetings and records and everything else I have so I can get a feel for what's going on. So those are the assignments to go on for this week. I will make sure I'll make a few edits in these, but if you have any questions, reach out. I put some comments in some of the things I graded over the weekend. Our TA is having some health issues, so not everything's been graded, but a couple of feedback points at a high level. From an employer point of view, right? If you read an assignment and you're not sure what's going on, ask questions. A couple of people in this class have been really good. They see the assignment, they're not sure, they ask me a question. That's perfect. No boss is going to be unhappy that you ask a question because you didn't understand something, especially if you're asking it right when it's assigned. If you ask the day it's due, the night before it's due, like 2 hours before it's done, that always sends a bad impression. So look at the assignments, get going on these, ask questions early. As I've said before, right, I intentionally leave things reasonably vague. It gives you more flexibility, but it also is what I think you need to be learning to do. Is like you have some high-level objectives. If you don't understand them, come back and ask some questions and get some added detail. I will say a couple of students have even sent me like, here's a draft, like 2 days before, so here's a draft of what I'm doing. Did I miss something? That's a reasonable strategy. It's not something I'm really comfortable doing for every student every time, but if you're asking your boss, is this what you're heading towards? If you're unsure, that's a great way of, if you're not sure what question to ask, you can do a little bit of the work and then say, is this heading in the right direction? And I can give you a quick answer, yes or no, to where that's going. But waiting at the last minute is not a good strategy. Many of you are working now with an external client or somebody. It's important to keep them involved in the loop, and I want to see some of that communication. If in your conversations you're doing stuff by email or text or calls with them, that's okay. Document some of that in the journal so I can give you credit for that as well. My office hours, Tuesdays, 9:30 to 10:30, 9:50 to 10:50. Stop by, ask questions, just stop by and chat. That's fine, right? It is Halloween season, hey, right? So there'll be candy in my office, so swing by and just grab a treat. So, okay, that's it. Thanks. Bye.